you may not have even have seen it, but I'm only bringing this up because it was a conversation I was having with some of my brethren about the Diddy speech and what happened with him and Mase and that.
Bro.
So do you know about that?
Bro.
No, can you explain it?
Do you want to explain?
Cool. So basically, yeah, at the Grammys, they've Diddy and like a whole bunch of people from that realm, yeah, they all had like a Black Excellence brunch.
Oh yeah, I saw Mikey and Will.
Mikey and Will was there from Trapstar. Master Shorty was there. Posty was there.
Yeah, Posty. I saw that.
I hadn't seen Master Shorty, by the way.
That looked amazing.
Time. I just saw him in like Insta Snaps and I was like, right, fuck it. He used to be an artist from here, but I've heard he's living out there now.
Yeah, he is still.
Yeah. There was a few people from here that was there, but there was like Kevin Hart was there, Meek Mill, everyone. They've done it before. Jay-Z.
I know.
You know what I mean? Everyone's
Beyonce
doing the
there.
thing and there's a speeches or whatever, yeah. But
write a book and a book to your life.
Oh yeah. I watched the.
yeah, they will do
Black
that
Excellence.
So then anyway, later on in the night now, I think Diddy had there was like a celebration of his life. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was some type of celebration where it's like bare performances and whatever. And then he's gone up on stage and he's talking about, like being an artist. And he quoted something that Erykah Badu had said where she was like, listen, as artists, we need to take back what's ours. And like, we're sensitive about our shit because this is just all we've got or whatnot. So anyway, that's gone up, whatnot. Everyone's like, yeah, Diddy, that's true. As artists, we need to do this and that and whatever. And everyone gets inspired by like 30 seconds and carries on doing their own bullshit. But then,
fucking hate you.
So then, Mase, yeah, who used to be signed to Diddy many years ago, had said, like, took that quote. And actually, no, he didn't. He took a picture of Meek and a quote of something that Meek had said, yeah, where it was like people being in shit deals or whatever. And he's tagged Diddy and he's basically saying to him, you know what? Everything that you said is right. Do you know what? Like everything, yeah, you've got big points or whatever and you're right. We should all take it back. So I'll tell you what you do. The first thing that you need to do is look at yourself as a label owner and start looking at what you've done and then start handing that back. So he's like, as we're hearing that conversation, you sign my publishing for 20K. Yeah, it's worth however many millions now, and I can't get my publishing until I'm 50. I've tried to buy it off you. Can I get it?
No, but furthermore, he said I wasn't gonna say this before because it would be looking like I'm bitter because I ain't got no bread. So I've come back when I've got money, and I've offered you 2 mil for this publishing, and you're telling me no. And he said something cheeky.
Did he respond?
Yeah, when he first time he said it, Diddy said something cheeky. I can't remember what the response was, but Diddy said something cheeky, and that's when I didn't save it on my phone, and that's when I was sorry to cut you. That's when I was disappointed with Puff because, like, long story short, bro, cause that is the one thing I hate about all of these speeches and all of these things that happen.
Hollow.
People stand by them and. It's the wrong people delivering the message sometimes, because if you're going to be so self-righteous and so try to embody something, you have to make sure that you're laying it out as well, fam. Otherwise, just make it look like you're just lending some advice, fam.
Do you know what it is as well, yeah? I think the problem is sometimes it's just easy to say things. Like when you're in front of a microphone, this is not just him, I'm just saying in general, it's easy to just use words. And now... When you're somebody who knows how to put words together and get an applause, yeah, like that's like a skill. You go because you know you can put words in like a certain sentence and then make a paragraph out of it, and you know at the end of it you're gonna get an applause. But then sometimes when you look beneath all of that, you're like, hold on 1 second, like what's happening here? But let me just add more context to this as well, yeah, because this actually. Mase asking for his publishing wasn't like the first situation that Diddy had with this. Do you ever remember what happened with the Locks years ago?
What when the Locks were saying they're on Puffy and they were trying to come to do something to him, and then he's told him where he is and
kinda sorta. So what had happened was they wanted their publishing back. So they've realised, right, we signed a shit deal. They signed the deal, right? And they've realised now, right, hold on a minute, the maths are just looking all mad, bro. Like, man owns like half of our publishing or whatever. like 50%. We need to try and get that back. So they were trying to speak to him or whatever it may be. For whatever reason it was, there was no communication. So they were having marketing campaigns. They had a mixtape called like Get Our Publishing Back or some shit like that. In the end, they ended up going on Hot 97 on Angie Martinez's show, yeah, and just talking about it. And they were just getting pissed off because they're saying, rah, like we're trying to get the publishing and that, but man, we can't hear from him. Anyway, Puffy ends up ringing the radio station and he's like, listen, just like, you don't need to go on the radio. You could have just come to the office and whatnot. And they were like, we've tried to come to the office, bro. Like, we've tried, innit? So it ended up being a big thing. However, they ended up renegotiating that situation and then they're happy with that now or whatnot, yeah? But the big question kind of is, even with, like, it can be split into two. One is that, like, Diddy in the 90s was operating in a music business, yeah? Where he was, like, one of the few people at the time signing black acts, yeah, right? And like today, I'm gonna say this all scattered, but you can just take from it whatever and just interject when you want. But like even now, when I look at some of the people that are working in record labels and that here, sometimes I do think like whenever I have a conversation with some of them or whatever, especially whether they come here or wherever we film something, I'm always curious to find out like how much of your knowledge are you actually giving the man them to let them know exactly what they're in for and what they're signing? Because you've signed a deal before, right?
Yeah, worst decision of my life.
Really?
Worst
so when
decision.
you sign that deal, like, could you just talk to me quickly about the process of you signing your deal? Do you remember like what happened? I know that you, like
briefly they offer you various different options in which you can go with. I think at the time for us it was like a single with the option of a second, and there was another one was like a single with the option of an album, and then you're taking a look at what you own and what you don't own, and then there's so much information of like if they book studio and you make certain songs in studio time, they own it and all this. You're not even reading all of that. You're just hearing money for studio. You're like, hey, let's go studio. You're hearing like little thing. I'm telling you, like it's a
and that
fucking
shit all adds up.
It all adds up. Even listen, and one, I'm not anti-labels, by the way. Like I think labels are a good thing, but the amount of things that are in the deal, bro. As an artist, like it's too much information for you to consume. So sometimes you just kind of go with it quickly, just because you just want to get the art done. You're not even thinking about everything else.
And that's how it should be, and that's what the role of a manager should be, to step in and be able to break it down easily. So, but that's a catch-22.
That's a catch-22 as well, yeah. Because sometimes, yeah, the manager is a young kind of inexperienced manager too, and this is why even when you look at the Mase situation, you look at the Mase situation, you say, all right, cool. There is context and nuance that should be thrown in there, yeah, to make the understanding clear. When Mase was signed, or when he was being signed to Diddy, he wasn't an established artist. It's not like today where people are signing, like major labels are signing like D Block Europe or some shit like that. Of course, when you're signing someone who is not an established artist and you're taking them, you're investing your money into them or whatever it may be, then there's all these percentages and stuff that they work out and whatever it may be, yeah. So at that period in time, he signed this deal, yeah. Then again, he's probably got an inexperienced manager. So someone's come there and just thought, when you offer 20k to a man in a hood, well, of course you're gonna fucking take that. That's a lot of money, you know. When you think about that, you're not thinking to yourself, millions, and I'm gonna make millions from this or whatever it is. You're thinking you can give me 20k right now, and I live in here, and I could buy me I could pattern up and do all these type of things. Man are gonna snatch your hand off and go for that. One thing that I do know is that he signed that. Mase ended up being a fucking whatever Mase was, and he actually did renegotiate an element of his deal. But then,
which is actually quite that does happen quite a lot.
Of course. But then after that, remember, he went and did the fucking pastor shit and whatever and disappeared on whatever it may be. So now, technically, I think there's argument to say that he might even owe Diddy money because of the advance that he got, and he never ended up doing anything.
Yeah.
But the question is that like, should Diddy of being operating, and should anyone from a record label be operating a certain type of way if we come from the same community and you're dealing with the people that look like you. So, for example, Diddy understood the business, yeah? And he would have looked at where he's come from and said, rah, okay, everyone's signing pop acts and doing all of that. Here, all of this is a gold mine. No one's even touching this. It's kind of like the Berry Gordy situation with Motown. Think about it, like everyone was signing all of these acts, yeah? And then he's got all of these. He's like, hold on a minute. Oh, this is how this works. Okay, cool, I can implement that and do that over here. But really, that's cool. From a business point of view, in business, you're going to deal with things in a business way. But I come from maybe an idealistic point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bring you in, but I'm going to show you the game. And I just think that, like, if Diddy had come out or Diddy was a guy who was like, you know what? I deal with business. I am a guy who deals with business. And this is how the business is. See, like Leo Cohen or whatever. He's a man who comes out and says, this is the business, bro. This is the business. I haven't done anything illegal. I've told you, here's the documents. You go and do what you want to do with it. Come back and sign it and we'll get it done. You can't argue with a man if he's telling you, this is the business. This is how I operate. But if you operate in a certain way, then you come out and then start saying, I'm for this person or for that person, it's kind of like, hold on, you sound like a massive hypocrite right now.
Foot in both camps. Like, you can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways. And do you know what? On top of that as well, yeah, do you know what?
I set this to my brain.
Do you know what you could do? Do you know what you could do in a situation like that? He could also say, you know what? Like, I didn't even know at the time what I was doing was mad. In hindsight, it's mad.
Yeah.
In hindsight, right, I had 50% of Man's Publishing. In hindsight, I've got 70% of Man's Publishing. Yeah. You know what? That same speech, artists need to take back what is theirs. They're sensitive about their shit. That's all they've got. You know what? Let's renegotiate this thing now because I've got... Do you understand what I'm saying? You need that back because now I'm looking back at it. This is all mad. That is a honourable thing to do. But in business, there's not necessarily honour.
He's not going to do that. He wouldn't do that. I'd be very surprised if he did.
Yeah, it's just a bit mad because I just think sometimes when you're looking at how people are doing their business, it's different now because you have so much examples of platforms like this that like talk about these things. So people are able to now get elements of information and understand what it is when they're signing a deal and stuff that they can look for and whatnot. But back then, there weren't no fucking information.
No, there was no internet. You couldn't
see
videos of people talking about.
You just give someone 20k.
Do you know what's ruined our community when it comes to... Because you can see what ruined that community. It's the idea of success. The concept of success being misconstrued or being anything that goes against the norms and values and principles of a community will essentially be its biggest downfall. So when grime was quite popular, the most important thing in grime was being the best grime artist within your community.
Yeah. That's
all you cared about. And if you had the respect of your peers, that was almost like signing a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
If that still existed, but you understood you could make money from this as well, but the respect of your peers still meant a lot, I think we would be in a better place and a better situation than we're in right now. But because the idea of success happens to be getting a number one, or the idea of success basically primarily is just social acceptance by a community of people that don't really know you, that is the idea of success now. It's absolutely fucked up everything because you're saying to people, but we can bring you over here and you can make all of this money and you can do this and you can do that. And then people will gloat about these things that have never meant anything to us. We didn't grow up caring about, but because you're in a different world now and you want to make a different amount of money and be appreciated by a different audience, you will play up to different things, which confuses the boy in our community who at one point, if he had grown up when I was growing up, the most important thing was getting a reloader, Sidewinder or something like that, which was kind of important because, again, that's publicity for our community. That's what makes it bigger. Now, unfortunately, for everything we do, and it's not unfortunate because there are benefits to it as well, the biggest thing for someone in our community to do is to be a huge success outside of it.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but I just wish those were the accessories to the tree. But being an important person in your community was the most important thing. I wish that was the important thing, but
I also think as well that it's like now...
Does that make sense, by the way?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay.
Now, like, there's so much deals getting thrown around left, right and centre, yeah? It's just super important to just know what the hell you're signing because, yeah, like, someone can dangle a hell of a lot of money in front of your face, yeah? but it's about for me, bro, it's about the terms. You got to look at the pie and understand how much of this pie you're getting. Yeah. Someone will give you this, but then you look at the pie, and when you look at the pie, you're only getting 5% of this pie, and this pie is your art. So it's weird. It's good. Do you know what? I had a really good and interesting conversation with someone that I will bring on the podcast at one point. I don't know how much of their business that they'll discuss where it comes to like signing deals and stuff like that, but it was for this person, it was super important for him in particular that when he's signing an artist, that they know that it's fair, that it's fully fair, and that they are fully aware, the artist that they're signing is fully aware of what they are signing. And also just not even just on a thing of, you know what, this is what you're going to get and this is what I'm going to get. It's more of a thing of, this is the pie. Let's look at the pie, and I'm going to show you this pie so that you can understand it better. Because if I say to you, as a young youth that's come from the fucking streets or whatever, I'm just going to get a percentage of this and that and this and that, man's just going to be like, all right, cool, this is too much information, bruv. Just give me the document, let me sign it. If I show you the pie as just one circle right now and say, you know what, that bit, that's you. I'm going to take this. I can understand that a little bit better and be like, okay, cool.
That's really important. You're right.
I can work with that. But
do you know? Sorry, another way of looking at the business as well. Sorry to just cut you, Chuckie, because I'm never gonna say I'm the most business savvy person. I'm not. But one thing I do understand is the value of community.
Yeah.
I think I understand that really, really well. All these artists that are coming up in this thing, all of these DJs, all of these videographers, all of these people that are coming up within this community, you need to look at long-term examples of situations that are here rather than short-term examples. Because the short-term examples that have large investment are the wrong examples of successful projects within our community.
Yeah.
Wiley is a better example of how to be successful in this community than some MC that just got signed after one song in this community, because that's an unrealistic journey. It's not going to work for everyone. Not everyone's going to have that opportunity. But if you work hard and you're good at something and you make all the right moves, you growing in this community, you being popular in this community, and you being able to make money within this community is very, 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 very accessible. It'd be like the guy it'd be like your local weed man in your hood. If he's the man that everyone goes to, he's always going to make the money. It'd be like a little kid that sells lemonade every single summer in their area. If everyone knows that's the person that you go to get the lemonade, that's what they're gonna go to. Back in the day, it was me and my cousin were like one of the best spitters in our ends. So if you went somewhere, they're gonna talk about you lot as spitting. So they're gonna represent you. They're gonna put on for you. They're gonna defend you like it's a football team. That type of support is what can make you money, not the machine. The machine needs that. The machine can't exist without that. So just from a business perspective, I always thought to myself, as long as I get that part right and I make sure I look after my community, how can I be broke?
Yeah.
Whereas if I try to look after the popular world, the machine, and cater to them, you're neglecting the one thing that will always make you money.
Man have to share information and that as well sometimes. I just think, you know what, sometimes, I think...
Sorry, this is a problem. Does that make sense though?
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes, I think even in our community, one of the big issues have been before is that man have not necessarily wanted to share information because they felt like it's going to take from them.
Yes.
If they feel like it's going to stop their bread.
Yes.
If by me giving by me giving you the code or by me telling you how this works, it's going to stop my blessing. It's not going to stop your blessing, bro.
It doesn't.
It's not going to stop your blessing. But going back to the Diddy thing, in essence, in like from the business aspect of things, I don't even necessarily think that he is wrong for doing it, because I don't necessarily know the full situation. He's going by how the business works, and obviously he's been trained by certain people, and maybe at the time he's just thinking, okay, cool, this is just how the business works, and what I'm going to do is, I know that there's a big talented bunch of people that these lot don't necessarily believe in, and they understand me, and I understand them, and you know what, they understand me, I can deal with them. I'm going to sign them and I'm going to give them a shot. However, in hindsight, when you learn certain things and understand certain things and have a different perspective, if you then say this is about the artist, then really the moral and ethical thing is to reevaluate some of the business that you've done, and then you get what I'm saying. But there's also another thing I wanted to say as well. Even at them times there, yeah, if I'm being honest, like, you know how labels sign artists today and how they sign them back in the day is completely different, because now you'll find that a lot of labels are not developing acts anymore at all. They're trying to find ready-made people who have got big fan bases and stuff like that and signing them to deals. So imagine, let's just use D Block Europe for an example again. You'd be out of your absolute mind to try and sign them with an old school deal with the fucking big fan base that they've got. You've got to make sure that the pie is very different. And I know for a fact for them, it's very lucrative for them. They're doing well, but I'm not going to put their thing out there. But back then, a lot of the labels and stuff they were going out and they were trying to find acts and stuff like that and trying to develop acts and whatever. So there is a part of me that, like, in a certain era, I understood why a label, for example, would have implemented a thing like a 360 deal off the fact that, like, okay, cool, I'm finding a diamond in the dirt. No one knows who this is. I'm investing my time, my money, and all of that. And then they come up, they become a huge superstar, and they end up indulging in all of these different things. You know what? I'll take a percentage of all of it, because really, if it wasn't from this, your talent and my time and effort, these things ain't going to happen. But do you know what? It's the percentage that you take that makes me respect or not respect you. Yeah. If you say, you know what, yeah, boom, I've invested my time or whatever, and like, yeah, you are talented, but if it wasn't for me, then none of this would happen. So I want 45%. I can't respect that. But if you say, you know what, boom, I'll take a little young 5% off this. You know what I mean? What, you're going into acting in that and I'll take a young 5% off that. You know what I mean? What, you're doing clothing and that? I'll take a young 5%. Why not? What are you saying? You're doing a trainers thing? I'll take a young 5%.
The thing is,
45, 50.
The thing is, if you have enough faith in the product that you're working with, surely 5% over the course of 20 years is better than 45% over a year and a half or 2 years.
Massively.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of businesses and that's what the whole point of business is, to make money. But people from our community should start looking at things like long-term goals. And if this is the doctor surgery that you're creating, make it the best doctor surgery so it's there for a long period of time and you can employ loads of members of staff. I think people got to realize that if you build a star, if you build a Stormzy or an H, there's a team of people that can be employed around that can make money. You can change so much people's lives that you end up, through one person, changing like 10 people's lives, employing 10 different people. If you're the person that's the point of that business, you're the point of contact, you don't have to be taking 45% of anyone. You've helped someone create a business around their brand. I think these are things that it's good to be a part of, but everybody just wants to be the man. Everybody wants to be the man, and in being the man, you got to have the most swag, the most money, all of these things. Everybody wants, not everybody, but a lot of people want to be the guy, and that is when our whole thing just becomes fucked, because the doctor wants to be the barber, and the barber won't be the fucking nurse. And cause just, if you're the barber, just cut the hair. And if you want to pick up another skill, learn from the man that does that, let him teach you, and then do it gracefully. Don't just take money from man's pocket. And
listen, there's a couple of types of businessmen. You've got the shrewd businessmen, or business people, business women as well, and then you got the business people who are like, they can be shrewd, but they have a moral and ethical way of dealing with things. And I just think, if you are the shrewd businessman, just be that. Just say that's what you are, and own it. Don't feed me the other stuff.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with that.
Because there's not, of course not. As long as you ain't done nothing illegal,
allowed to do that.
You're allowed to be that, and you're allowed to do that.
To be something else, because
I'm a victim of a bad manager, and that's the reasons why everyone I work with, I try to build them to be their own person, Chuckie. Yeah. Because I'm like, look, you lot, I'll be real. I don't want to help you to teach you to rely on me. No, I'm going to help you learn how to help yourself. Yeah. I want to teach you, or try and help you learn how to help yourself. That way, you never have to worry about no one. Yeah. All my contact list, I'll give it all to you. All the people I know, you can have all of them, like everyone. And whether it be young people that are around me that do DJing or what have you, know all of them. Yeah. I don't want you to feel like you can't talk to anyone I know, because that means someone there can help you. Do you know what I mean? Word. And other people won't do that out of fear of, yo, man, I gave man my contact and all.
No, I hear
it's
that.
Just, I don't know, man.